So we'll start with just an introduction. If you guys could maybe introduce yourself to my audience, that would be awesome.
You want to start?
You go first.
So I'm Sarah Coponat. I'm a pianist, an improvisator, composer, and singer-songwriter from France. And I stream on Twitch. It's been a year.
And I'm our brother Sebastien, and we work together on releasing tracks on Spotify and all streaming platforms. So I handle everything technical, so like cameras, microphones, mixing, these sort of things.
He's the man behind the curtain, and sometimes in front.
Yeah, we have a project where we work together also with synths and like vocals and stuff like that.
So Sarah, how long have you been playing the piano? Like, what was the first? How old were you when you first started? First touching the piano?
I was 3 years old, actually. I was 3 years old. I remember we went to a little, music center in the city, and I played there for 3 years. And then entered the Conservatory of Marseille.
Wow. How about you, Sebastien? Do you play as well?
Yeah, I actually went to the same conservatory as Sarah, but with violin. But I don't play it as much these days. I mostly do either editing on Sarah's work or just learn like to use synths and stuff like this mostly.
Yeah, very cool. So it runs in the family clearly. Are there other people in your family that are into music as well, or just you two?
Everyone is.
Kind of. Family.
Yeah, what's funny that actually around us, everyone had a different musical background.
Okay.
So we have very different influences, you know?
Sure.
Like, for example, our mom side was more into classical music. So, Chopin, Liszt, all of those things. And our dad was more into the Pink Floyd, Genesis,
Supertramp.
Supertramp. And our grandfather was into jazz, and like,
wow.
So we had a lot of different influences growing up.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you guys are making and composing, do you feel like specifically that there's times where you're pulling from, I guess, those three different areas?
Definitely.
For sure.
For sure. Like I remember some pieces that really, strike me when I was a kid, struck me. Like Gershwin, some like the Rhapsody in Blue from Gershwin, for example, or like Mephistopheles from Liszt, and some the album The Wall, and I definitely sometimes feel like what I do now is a combination of all of those things.
Yeah, and pulling from different areas, and I love the sound of that. That's very fascinating to me. I want to ask a question about starting with lessons. Like, did you guys both start lessons like at that early age at 3, 4, 5 years old and kind of continued all the way until around what time?
Yeah, we've had a very classical, training. So
very academic, right?
Very academic training, yeah. So since we were very young, right, like 3 years old, until 10 years ago, maybe. I stopped when I went to math school, actually. Oh. And also because, at one point, my interests in music were not the same as what the conservatory could offer,
Okay.
It's always very, academic. So it's like the classics, right? So it's always Chopin and like the same. Like if your teacher is into like Baroque music, you're only going to play like Bach.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. And also because since I'm a composer, right, I do, and I'm not very, we can say I do neoclassical music, but it's not so neoclassical. It's a mix between more modern music and more rhythmic music, Mm-hmm. So it didn't fit into the boxes of
classical,
classical way of composing,
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped going to the conservatory at that time.
Wow. So growing up, let me ask this question. One of my colleagues, who's also a teacher, she's from Armenia, and she was mentioning, and when she grew up, like learning the piano was a part of the academic sort of structure in the school that she was at. You guys mentioned, like taking lessons, but your lessons that you guys were taking were separate than your academics, right?
Yeah, the only music lesson we have in France in the normal courses,
flutes, right?
Is flutes.
Yes. Okay.
Piccolo, right?
Piccolo.
It's called the is it like the recorder, like that kind of
Yeah,
deal?
it's a recorder.
Yes. Okay.
The only thing we learn in
That's
school.
funny. That's the same thing over here. Now that you mention it, it's like that was fun. That was like a time where I can actually, I haven't thought about it actively until we're talking about it now, but I can think about how much fun that was for me at that time when I didn't realize that I had that sort of musical thing inside of me that I really wanted to kind of pursue. And so my story goes a little bit like in 6th grade, I started taking piano lessons. And prior to that, I've shown signs of being able to play by ear, hearing something, hearing a melody, being able to replicate it on my, little Yamaha keyboard. Well, not this small, maybe like this small. Yeah, it's like really small, pocket size. And so I took a 1 year of lessons in 6th grade, and I asked my parents if I can take the summer off because we were done with school and I'll start back in the fall. And the story goes, we never signed back up in the fall. And from that moment all the way until I turned 30, which was a few years ago, I had that sort of thing in my mind, like I wanted to get back into it, but I just never did until 3 years ago. And it was the absolute second best decision behind marrying my wife, decision that I've ever made, because I love it so very much. And being able to talk to people who are also musicians and who are just super talented, that's why I was just so excited that you guys made yourselves available so that we can just talk about things like something I discovered recently. I want to hear you guys' opinion on this, as two amazing artists. So when you know a song really well on the piano, so well that you don't need to be looking at the sheet, or you don't need to be looking at the keyboard to play it, I've kind of realized that, like, when I close my eyes and play, this might sound weird. I want to know if this is normal or if you've experienced this. I closed my eyes. I was playing the Prelude by Bach the other day, right? I know that song very well. I can play it really well. So I closed my eyes. I'm playing it, and as I'm playing with my eyes closed, as the song is going on, I'm so into it that it literally felt as though I was no longer sitting on the piano bench anymore. I felt like I was floating in the air as I'm playing. It was so weird. I've never experienced anything like it. I wasn't drinking. I didn't have no substances, no nothing. I just had some water like I have right here. And I did some research on it, guys, Sarah and Sebastien. I did some research, and I noticed that like your brain is processing things that you see. So even when you're playing, like about 30 or 40% of your brain is being used to process everything your eyes are seeing. And when your eyes are closed, that part of your brain is not being used for that anymore. So it's like capable of these other things, other phenomenons that I'm just like, I was kind of taken aback by, because I've never experienced anything like that. Have you guys ever experienced anything even close to that, like with the eyes closed, or some musical sort of anomaly?
I would say that I've got like this sort of things where you start playing and then it's over and you don't really remember what's happened because you were in a flow kind of things.
Okay.
Yes, also,
I understand. Yeah, I guess maybe you're talking about like a trance, like on the trance.
Yes, when you're just
yeah, sometimes
like
you're so into the music, and it's all, and your whole body feels like just a way to channel emotions, right? Or to live the story that you're telling.
Yes.
So it's all kind of like if it's electricity,
Yes.
Right?
Something
I do
happens.
experience this a lot while composing, especially when I'm improvising live. For example, it's not really like improvisation in the strict sense. It's more like live composing, right? So I won't have a key that I will stick to, or like things like this. And so it's really like a travel, and I do experience, for example, different senses, like, you know, like you said, like the wind, I don't know, or feeling cold somehow, or having images, and all of this being very, you know, mixed up in a non-logical way.
Sure, hard to make sense of, right?
Right? So
Yeah.
that you don't even really remember at the end. It's a bit like a dream. You know, if you try to explain, it's just doesn't make sense. You know, you don't even remember, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, you know. So I totally, you know, agree. We can feel some physically some kind of freedom, right? And like it's like electricity. I think really like electricity sums it up a little bit, you know, like it's like dancing. At one point you can kind of lose yourself, right? And experience like space, right? You know how you know all of this, right? I don't know.
It's a fascinating thing. Yeah, no, you're spot on. And the thing is like when I've tried to, I guess, explain that to people maybe who are not into music or something, or maybe into playing music and stuff, and they kind of look at me like, what is this guy talking about? Like, what is he even saying right now? It doesn't make any sense. So the fact that we could at least relate on that, like, you know, on that level is definitely a good thing. So let me ask this question about streaming. I want to talk a little bit about streaming, because similar to what we were just talking about, streaming is such a fascinating and like it's such a great thing in my opinion, right? And I'm sure you guys would agree. Like you said, you've been streaming for about a year now, is that right?
Yes.
About a year. I have seen, I've seen quite a few of your sets, and I get inspired whenever I go into like a stream and see the way it's set up and see the way the interaction with the audience. Sometimes I see you know, kind of focus fully on the music for an extended period of time where people are just there and they're just loving like the facial expression, seeing you in the music, and it's just so intimate. And then there's times where it's like a little bit more casual and you're like conversing with the audience and talking and things like that. And someone told me the other day about streaming, what makes it specifically on Twitch, but I guess you can say really anywhere where you can chat with the person who you're watching, it is that like when we're watching TV at home, we're consuming this content, we're watching it, and like we have no control over what happens on screen. But it's so fascinating, I think, to a lot of people that, you know, you can send a message and say, oh, that sounded great, or oh, you know, whatever, and like you sending that message has a result of what everyone else is watching. It's kind of like I think the big thing about why people love viewing streaming so much. But I want to know from you guys, and for both of you, kind of what was that process like when you sort of decided, okay, you know, I'm a piano player, we're composers, we play, but we want to start doing something to kind of get our content out there to more people. What did that sort of process look like for you guys?
Actually, Sebastien was the one who kind of forced me into streaming at the beginning. I was a very shy person. I was extremely shy, and I had never done those kind of things. And Sebastien thought it was a great opportunity, right, to start streaming, try to see how it goes. Right. So we started streaming like this to, you know, see how it goes. Like we had no really
expectations.
We had no expectations, and we just tried.
It was just a webcam and like
it was just a webcam and, you know,
a bad microphone and
a very bad microphone and but since the very first stream we had people connecting, you know, with the music and with us. And so it became instantly very interesting for me and very like a powerful experience, you know. So we carried on and now we're here streaming every day almost. And it's definitely what you said, like you're building a community around the live streams, and it's both ways, you know, like the audience is connected to what's happening live. They feel like they're part of something, but you're also part of their world, you know, like it's a whole, they help create this world around.
It's like an ecosystem, right?
So
yeah, it's very interesting actually.
yes,
That's
it's very I think it's also extremely different from live performances out like
Mhm.
on a regular
Yeah, because you
basis.
have a direct feedback,
Yes.
right? When you're streaming, you can like see what the people are like, how the people are reacting to the music
Mhm.
Yes,
instantly, right? Like, I mean, with like 5 second delay or something.
it's a non-stop communication.
Mhm.
Even when you're not talking, you see what's happening, and you can feel, you know, this energy people give you.
Mhm.
So there is I think what's amazing with those live streams is this energy you get from people who
Yeah.
watch you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's a bit similar to when you're doing sports with a crowd or without it, right? I
Mhm.
don't know if you've done like a soccer game or a football game or whatever with people cheering for you. You
Mhm.
have like a very different like energy when you're.
Yes, there is this aspect, and there is also the fact that you come back every 2 days or so, and so you build a bond with
Yeah,
the
they are
people
expecting you.
watching.
You're part of their lives, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and
Like they will plan their birthday and they're like every day, like life
and you
around.
get attached to those people, you know,
Right.
like they are. It's very it's kind of weird because it's a new thing, right? Like
Right.
they are not friends, they are not family, but they're not nothing at all, you know.
Sure.
There's something in your life very important,
Sure.
and you don't really know how to name that, you know. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a group of people that's around the campfire, you know. It's
Yes.
kind of, and the campfire being the music, but
Yes.
it's definitely something I would recommend to any artist
Mhm.
who's trying to find a connection with an audience, who's trying to build a community, a support system around his work, or you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah, I
me
think
ask.
streaming it's also a growing industry, right? So like
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
great time to get into it, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great way also to kind of get ready for the outside world also, you know. And
Yes.
you kind of have this, you can grow with your audience, and it's a bit more relaxed and casual, you know,
Then going on stage. I
than going
guess.
on stage where you just have to be, you know, kind of perfect and kind of right. So it's a great way to grow as an artist, you know. They see you changing a little bit, they see you improving or trying new things.
Mhm.
They follow your journey, you know.
Right.
There is also this part, right? It's like we're all in the journey. I don't feel like we just turn on TV, right, and it's a live stream and then it ends. It's
Mhm.
more like a journey.
Mhm.
We're all, you know, looking forward to what's coming outside also of live streaming, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just as an artist in general, people are committed to the project in general. It's just
Yeah,
not
yeah,
just the
yeah,
channel.
for sure.
So it's I think it's the most powerful thing, right? We discovered recently.
Mhm. As an artist. So let me ask this question. That was so well put. Especially I think for people out there that either are streamers right now or people thinking about getting into streaming. I think it's quite inspiring because I actually didn't know how long or how short of a time that you guys, you know, that you have been streaming, that you guys have kind of started this process. And what I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about for myself, as well as for anyone watching who is looking to tweak their game plan a little bit to kind of be as effective as they can possibly be with streaming. Last August is when I first started streaming using Reddit, specifically Reddit Public Access Network. And I was completely and utterly blown away. One of the, I don't know, second or third times I was streaming on there had like hundreds of thousands of viewers. It was like an out of this world experience. I've never experienced anything like it. And I was immediately like, oh my goodness, I need to be doing this all the time. At that time, I had started the YouTube channel a few months ago, and I'm like, this is a perfect way to connect with a new audience. And like you said earlier, I'm the guy who, you know, and I don't know if this is common or not amongst many artists, but I'm the guy who, when I'm playing by myself, it's like, oh, I can play nicely. I can play good. It sounds good. If my parents are here or my wife comes downstairs and I start playing, like, oh, listen to me play this. And then for some reason, at that time at least, it was like a mental block and I couldn't like do it as well as I could by myself. Streaming completely just flipped that around now where I'm just so comfortable for, you know, playing for anyone now. So I want to know this as someone for myself, for example, who started on Reddit and recently, you know, created a Twitch to kind of, you know, realizing the monetization aspect and stuff with Reddit not really having that and Twitch and other places having it. Would you say that, or I should say this, first of all, did you guys start with Reddit as well? And let me ask that first. And then after that, I want to know like, what type of suggestions would you guys have for someone who has the audience and the platform and the experience and all of that stuff on Reddit, but is looking to build that same type of community on Twitch?
Yeah, so actually, I think Reddit, like the public access network, was created around June or July last year, something like this.
I think 2 years ago, but last year it became fully open. Yes.
Yeah. So we started a bit before that. So we didn't like we didn't even know about it until like September or something.
Okay.
So we started on Twitch and Facebook actually at the very beginning, and then we dumped Facebook and we just went full on Twitch.
Yeah. But I remember the first stream on Reddit, like yours. It went viral, right? It was
on
so
my phone.
huge.
On my phone, it was.
Yeah, I remember. Like at the time on Twitch, we had, I don't know, 30
like,
people watching, maybe 50 people watching. I don't know. And we were trying to get partners, so 75 was the goal, you know.
Sure.
So we were under that, and it's felt like a lot of people.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, 50 people. Like,
it's a lot. And so it's more than a classroom, right? It's 2 classrooms. and so we started, my brother has just filmed me on Reddit, and then we saw 100, 200, 300, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 6K watching. You know? And I was like, oh my God. And it was so funny that as the numbers were growing, I was playing faster and louder, you know, as if I was in a train station and there was such noise, you know. Right. It's so funny because like you get,
and then the mod banned us.
Yes, and the stream went so big, they had to mod the stream, and by mistake they deleted our stream. Still, it was the biggest stream. It still is the biggest stream we ever did.
Like if you go in like 20 minutes, it did like 100,000 views.
More, even more.
Maybe more. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And definitely you have an adrenaline rush, right?
Oh, for sure. When you see those, like you said, literally that the ones, the tens, hundreds, thousands, multi-thousands, and you're trying to stay calm, but it's like it's an energy thing where you just feel instantly, wow, there's this many eyeballs on me right now, and it's just something about it. It's a great vibe. It's amazing.
Totally. Yeah. It's kind of like the vibe, but it's kind of different from the vibe you have on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a more intense, condensed, short, you know, flame, right? Mm-hmm. Like on Twitch, it's more regular, more I don't know, what would you say?
On Twitch, Twitch, it's more professional, I guess.
It's more calm. It's more calm, you know. Yeah. People know you. It's more like a hangout a little bit, right? And sometimes you have big raids, and then you get this little excitement, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different, but they meet, you know.
Yeah. And I think actually like Reddit is, I know like they created like a council of creators and things like this, so they are willing to help creators on the platforms.
Yeah, which I think is and you hit it right on the head. And I think one of the major things that I am trying to kind of figure out a little bit is so Reddit, I love the idea of like doing the unplanned sort of spontaneous stream. If I feel like I want to start playing, I'll grab my phone, I'll set it down. Sometimes not even do the physical connection, just do the phone speaker. So it's kind of like purposefully low quality and it just seems casual. And so what I noticed is that I really do enjoy the unplanned versus the, okay, it's Tuesday at this time and now I have to stream type thing. I haven't gotten there yet. And I believe that is and you guys can let me know for sure. I believe that is a like 100% sort of necessity on Twitch specifically, so that people are knowing when to expect you, even if like if I start a schedule right now 3 days a week or something, which I've literally been thinking about this for about a year, like saying, okay, do I want to do the schedule? Do I not want to? And I just haven't done it yet for some reason. But if I were to start a schedule on Twitch, and you know, I know they talk about the time zones having like 1 day earlier, 1 day later and stuff. So you guys can join from overseas and stuff like that. But I'm thinking about, is it just a matter, like for you guys, was it a matter of when you first started on Twitch, you kind of said, all right, let me figure out a schedule that works, and you had a schedule that was set, and then you just kind of started there without a huge audience, and it just kind of slowly just grew because the quality was so good? And is that kind of like how the process went for you guys?
Yeah, I guess like the first thing is you don't really grow on Twitch by streaming on Twitch. It's more like coming from other platforms. So it's going to come from Reddit. For us, we are big on Spotify, so like a few persons come on Spotify also.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I think that's the first thing. And when you're starting out on Twitch, you don't really know if you're going to like it anyway, right? So I think it's more smart probably to just start with no schedule and just like see how it goes and if it's something you like, right?
Gotcha.
But if you start growing and you enjoy streaming, then it makes sense to have a schedule, because then people can. I mean, like for us, a lot of people are going to plan their lives around the stream, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on a different note, it helps to schedule streams. Helps you to stay kind of.
It forces you to stream, right? I guess.
Yes, at the beginning, sometimes if you're shy, especially if there are not a lot of people, you can get discouraged. You know, you can, if you force yourself to come back, you know, and stick to it, it helps you structure even your life, right? It's just like a work schedule. Also as a professional, right? So I think it's a big difference with Reddit, where, right, people, you don't really schedule on Reddit. Some do.
Yeah, the platform isn't really.
It's more like a random stream, right? You
Yeah.
decide to stream whatever the time is, and but on Twitch, I feel like it's kind of different, because even if you have 5 viewers, those 5 will come back, you know. So they need to know when to come back. If they can't come back, like they won't be here.
Yeah.
So you know, you need to find a way to keep the audience you have and to grow your audience. So it's 2 different things, and you can actually do both things on Twitch. You can have like a scheduled
day, like 1 day where you're streaming,
and then just, you know, let people know that you might just stream during the week another day, but you don't know when, right?
Gotcha.
But at least have one day where people know if they want to hear you, if they can come that day, right?
You'll be there. Let's jump into some more music stuff with you guys a little bit. So I see obviously you're Roland here in front, and I know you mentioned earlier about sort of synthesizers and stuff like that. Like, I want to know a little bit about like the process of composing. So does it kind of look like Sarah, like you sitting in front of your piano there, and you're kind of just experimenting, you're playing something, you're notating it, and then like eventually taking the piano sound and trying it on like different instruments, like different sounds behind you? Is that the type of stuff? Or are you guys specifically composing straight piano pieces, or a little bit of both?
I guess there's both, right?
Yeah,
like
totally
we have
both.
there is 2 very different approaches, and for Spotify and for like YouTube and albums.
No, he was saying with those instruments, I think.
Yeah, but also for instance, I think you can probably talk about it more than I can, right? But
well, we have if are we talking about live composing, like, or Spotify and, you know, uploading music?
I should have specified. Yes, so the latter. So like releasing music for like Spotify. And
okay, releasing. Okay. So yeah, definitely for Spotify, for example, we make a lot of soft piano pieces there, and we got into peaceful piano playlist. Maybe you might know it. It's like for those kind of things, to get into the playlist game that's on Spotify, you kind of need to follow
you need to fit an aesthetic, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
Say that one more time. You need to.
fit an aesthetic.
So
Yeah.
making the music specific for the type of playlist that people are.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're making a 10 minutes like crazy piano track, you're never going to get in peaceful piano. And maybe your track is very good, right? But it's just not going to get in. Yeah, shorter and soft, and there is like all these like
whatever your genre is,
aesthetic,
you know. Yeah. If you do electronic music, I don't know, like chill music, right? You can have like long sets, crazy sets, I don't know, but they won't get into playlists, right? So you have to kind of take some parts of it, or I don't know, and upload it to get a chance to get featured. This is also a very interesting thing to talk about, because it's the way you can make a living as an artist today, as an independent, right? So I think what's important is to find a way to have the best of both worlds, you know, like the kind of what's working today on those streaming platforms, how you can, be in that game.
Right.
So for that, you have to compromise maybe a little bit. You have to maybe learn new things, and it's all for the best anyway, because you're gonna grow.
Right.
So you have to. I think it's great to take care of that, but then on the other side, you want to have your freedom, right?
Yes, really.
You want to, be just it to be your voice. So for that, you have all those platforms like Twitch to help you grow an audience around this kind of music. The audience on Twitch is there for original music. They're looking for authenticity or stuff like this, or they could go on TV, right, to hear something perfectly, made, like in the, of what's expected in pop music, for example, today. But so those people can go after to your Spotify and listen to your crazy tracks. So you need to have everything online, your crazy tracks that don't fit into playlist, and your more playlist friendly music, and and there are different worlds that can communicate, but that you grow differently. You can grow very big on Spotify with just the playlist world.
And be unknown, like
and just remaining kind of an unknown artist without fan base.
There's actually like on Spotify, there's like a lot of artists, maybe not a lot, but there's plenty of artists that have maybe 1 million listeners and nobody really knows who they are.
Because it's a lot about playlists. So it's very interesting to get to know that world if you want to make a living.
But if you only do this, then
platforms.
If you only do the Spotify game and not like Twitch or whatever, then you're not building an audience, right? Like
It's two different things.
I think don't really consider Spotify to be like fans that will go to concerts and things like this.
Nowadays, I think like the music and streaming platform is a lot, especially soft piano. The people listen a bit in the background, like in the car. I don't know. So they will listen and not really look at who's playing often, and sometimes they might think, oh, this is great, I will like it, but so it's less active. It's more passive. And in the contrary, right, if you're on Twitch or anywhere else, YouTube, Reddit, then you're here, right? You're making a statement. People see what you're talking about, what you're about. It's very different. It's a very different experience. So both sides, I think, are very interesting to take into account if you want to make a living independently. You don't need no label. You don't need no agent, nothing to do that.
Right. It's a fascinating time to be here as an artist with so many. It's great that there are so many different ways to be able to make the
best time ever.
I couldn't agree more. It's fascinating. It can be, what it is for me at least, and I think I've spoken to some other people too. It's a great thing that there are so many different ways and platforms to get your content out there. and it can be a little bit overwhelming if you're not sort of actively strategizing on how and when to explore said platform. And someone told me, like, you know, there's obviously there's Twitch, there's YouTube, Facebook, there's TikTok, there's Instagram. It's like all these different places. And at a time I'm thinking like, man, like I need to try to learn all of them so I can be on all of them. But someone was saying that you can, especially when you're doing it alone, right? You can completely burn yourself out if you're actively thinking about learning each platform and trying to get your content on each one. Certainly there are ways to, of course, repurpose content and stuff, like take a piece of your Twitch stream and put it on YouTube and things like that.
Yeah, reuse content.
Which is, I think, definitely important. I think what jumped out at me a lot just now in this conversation is the Spotify aspect and the playlist, and thinking sort of very intentionally about you as an artist, and the fact that yes, there's opportunities to make the creative and the unique and the stuff that you enjoy making, that's more, I guess, a niche audience. But if you're able to create content that, like you were talking about, getting placed on a playlist and stuff, if you're able to kind of tweak what you normally would make a little bit to make something that's closer to what's more likely to be on a playlist, that is what I'm hearing to be like a really significant sort of step in the right direction, right? So you can kind of do both of those together.
Yeah. Yes. And in the end, we learned a lot, you know, thanks to trying. Sometimes as an artist, you know, you can feel like it's compromising your
integrity.
Right? Yes, that you're here doing music because you want to be free, all of those things, and then you're doing the same thing again, you know, wanting to please the playlist, right? So you can feel frustrating, it can feel a little bit, I don't know, right? So, but in the end, after learning everything we learned to get into this world,
it makes it more interesting.
It made everything more interesting because we learned many things we didn't expect that we would learn, right? We met many people, we changed our view also on this, right? So I think it's very important to know that you're not compromising yourself, trying to, you know, fit in those aesthetic, as you said, right?
And about the like burning yourself out, I don't think you have to be on all platforms, right? I think that what's like the probably more interesting to do is to try to figure one out first and see like how it goes and what it's
maybe
like
just
for a few weeks or months and really understand it, right? And then pick and choose a second and a third one, and maybe not be on like TikTok and Snapchat and like and then everything, because then it's like overwhelming.
But in the end, you will eventually be everywhere.
Yeah, eventually,
Just take the time you need, right? Don't put too much pressure. You know, you take your time. And
because for instance, if you take content from like YouTube and you put it directly on TikTok, as far as I understand it, right, you're not going to like make any views anyway on TikTok, because you have to make content for this platform, right? So
also, I guess it's very important to kind of, at least for us, to know who you're targeting.
Right.
So you don't just want to get viral, you know?
Right.
You want to target. It's better to have like 100% very committing to what you're doing than 1,000 that don't care very much, right? So it's to have a quality audience, you know. So it's the same for Instagram and everywhere. If you have 5,000 people following you, but they are very interested by what you're doing, it's probably you probably have way more results than someone who has maybe 20K
or even 200K, but it's bots or whatever.
Yeah, but people not really caring, you know. So I think it's important when you're on those platforms, especially Instagram and TikTok and all of that. Even if
we are not on TikTok yet.
I'm not on TikTok yet, but I guess to
should be
know who you're targeting.
That's the key, who your target audience is.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's something to try to keep in mind as you're, walking your path, right? Like just who you're targeting, like what does it look like? Who are they? Potentially you don't have to know, but like have an idea, right?
Have an
Because
idea.
and it's something you discover as you grow, right? Because at first, I mean, you can't know who's watching you.
Right, sure.
Right, and now it's extremely funny. You see patterns,
Yeah, for us it's like engineers in their
we have
30s.
in their 20s.
Yeah, in 20s to 30s, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's
Is
like
Mostly
70%
IT
of
guys.
our audience.
Yeah, it's very funny, extremely funny. So yeah, the tech world a little bit.
I could see that. Yeah. So like you said, like some relaxing live music listening to that's chill, that's peaceful. Maybe after a stressful day, they want to just unwind and just have something that's nice and just, they're just relaxing and chill. And I could totally see that, especially as an engineer myself. I don't think I mentioned that earlier either, but that's my trade from when I used to work prior to becoming a teacher. I was actually an engineer.
Yeah, actually, what's funny is that this is the world we come from too. We've been studying math. Sebastien is an engineer also.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
so it's just the same people we were hanging out before, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It's so crazy. Like,
it's a loop.
It's a loop.
Love that. All right, so let me ask, we have a few more, maybe about 10, 15 minutes more. I want to ask you guys some questions just to get to know you a little bit. I think this segment will be a lot of fun for your audience to be able to learn a little bit more about you. I think that'll be really cool. And me as well, meaning me learn about you as well. So let's start with this. I'm gonna have you name a movie, any movie that you love. Name any movie that you love.
You start.
I'm very bad for this. I love every movie almost.
No,
I don't know.
you can say
I can watch the worst movie and have a good time. But I know I love all the Avengers. Like an old movie. I mean, it's a bit cheesy to say this probably, but I really loved. I watched it a year ago or something. It was a very old movie that's called. It's the trial thing. Wait, what's the name?
I don't know. Don't ask me.
It's a movie. I'm sure that it's very easy to find it online. It's like a movie from the 60s, where it's about a guy that's like a black guy from the hood or whatever. I don't know how to say it properly. That's accused of having murdered someone, and there is
with Sandra Bullock.
No, it's no. And everyone but one person wants to just say that he's gone for the electric chair or whatever. And there is one guy that just convinces everyone else to look at the evidence that's provided, and it's not so straightforward.
This is a deep answer.
I mean, it's an old movie, but it's a very famous movie. So
from the 60s.
You're fancy.
From the 60s, really old.
I don't know this movie.
Yeah. I will try to find the name after the podcast.
All right, definitely. If anyone out there watching knows the name of the movie, let us know in the comments. All right, what do you got?
Well, actually, the only thing I can remember is the movie I watched for 30, maybe I watched it 50 times. I don't know.
Okay, that's a lot.
That's a lot. But it was 7 years in Tibet, with
Brad Pitt. She loves Brad Pitt.
Tibet, okay.
Yes, I've always been so moved by the scenery of the movie.
Okay.
The story of this man, kind of on a forgiving path, right? Mm-hmm. And the wisdom that surrounds the Dalai Lama, all of those things, and the adventure and Brad Pitt, all of that.
Yeah. On a lighter note, did you see the movie with the talking sausages and everything?
Do you know? No, a movie I love, Dead Poets Society.
Animation movie? The animated movie you're talking about?
Yeah.
Sausage Party, that one?
Sausage Party.
Maybe I don't know the name in.
Is it a comedy? A comedy movie?
Yeah, it's a comedy where there is these food items that want to escape from the store or something.
Yes, I have to actually finish watching it. I watched about half of it, and I'm almost positive you're talking about. It's called Sausage Party. I have to finish watching that one actually because I did enjoy it, but for some reason I never finished it.
That's a fun one. Yeah,
Where
a bit stupid, right? But
Yeah, like just like a fun kind of, yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All right, next question is for both of you guys. What is the best vacation that you've ever been on?
I don't know.
the ice cream shop.
No, in Iceland? No.
No, no, I'm kidding. The best holiday spot. I think when we were little, we used to go to maybe Spain, and to the south.
Yeah.
And people were so nice. We would get to know Spanish people there. My mom speaks Spanish, so we were talking to the locals,
Nice.
and we would eat, local food and dance and sail all day, on the little like boats for
Boats.
babies,
Yeah, that's so cool.
That was very cool. I loved that time.
Yeah, actually, for me, it will not be this, I guess. It will be like when I was in my last year of engineering school, you have to do an internship, right?
Right.
So I went to Australia for 6 months. So it's not a vacation per se, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like basically a vacation, right?
Yeah.
Australia is so amazing.
So yeah, it
right?
was great. Yeah, I met a lot of people. I played like footy. It's like their own mix of American football and rugby, I guess.
Wow. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Actually, I
it's
changed my
best.
mind now.
What's your second answer? Go ahead.
For my 80th birthday, we went to New York,
Yeah, New
and
York
we
was
went to Broadway.
Yes. Okay.
I spent days just watching musicals, right? So I just want to do that. Spend a week,
Sure.
watch all the musicals in Broadway.
I was going to ask that if you guys have been. So was that your one and only time visiting the States, or have you been? Again,
It was.
Yeah.
time. Have you visited too, Sebastian?
Yeah, we went together.
Nice.
Yeah, it was amazing. Amazing.
It
Great.
was good.
Yeah.
We're hoping to go to Los Angeles maybe later this year.
Yes.
Ah,
Mm.
very cool. So I live in New Jersey, so I live really close to New York, and of course, I've been there many times. And my sister lives in California. She lives in Oakland, so pretty far
Okay.
from Los Angeles, but still, in the same state. And yeah, California is really nice as well. So definitely, if you guys get a chance, I would say that that's definitely a good move. A lot of people who visited there, they've done something called Drive the Coast, and you would like start, I guess, either low or up high, and you just kind of just drive down. And you stop at like a Airbnb or whatever, and there's like so many different types of areas to visit while you're there. I haven't tried that yet, but I heard it's a great time.
I would love it. I would love to make a road trip, like go from New York to Los Angeles or something like this. I don't know.
Yes. Oh, that would be that's next level. Yeah, that's gonna take like I mean that would be an amazing experience though, wouldn't it, to be able to see everything? Because like when you think of the United States, you think of specific places like New York and like California, Los Angeles, maybe Chicago, maybe something like that. But there's
For me,
probably
I think of Texas and like tanks and guns also.
where I just visited. I just went to for spring break from, as I mentioned, being a teacher, we had off a couple weeks ago. My wife and I went to Tennessee, which is, as you guys may know, a big musical kind of place. Yeah. And so that was mesmerizing for me, guys, because the last day that we were there was a jazz club that my wife had researched that was their opening night was the day we were leaving. So we weren't going to be able to go. And we went to a restaurant the day before we were leaving, and we happened to drive right past the jazz club, and the door was open. We were like, oh, okay, let's go see what's going on. So they had like a soft open the day before for like family and friends. So we walked on in there, and when I tell you, it was one of those experiences I'll never forget, because there's like the guy, like the charismatic guy on the piano, and I'm sitting like really close to him, being able to watch him play and stuff. Then there's like the upright bass and someone on the drums, and then there was a woman singing who was switching with a person playing the trumpet. The two people were switching. And it was the first time in as long as I can remember, certainly since I started getting into music, where I was able to see amazing music in person. And I was just like, I was glued in. It was such a great experience. So I'm still taking piano lessons right now, actually. I took a couple years when I turned 30, and then I took some time off to kind of just practice the stuff that I learned. And then I started back up a few weeks ago, and I texted her like that moment. I was like, I said, when we get back, I said, I need to like learn some jazz, some improvisation stuff. Cause like, this is blowing my mind right now what this guy's doing. And so we've been kind of working on, we've been working on something called are you familiar with the voicing, the Kenny Barron voicing? Have you heard of that? You know about that? The 159 and the 3711 and the other. So like, I'm learning about that. And, I have like bigger hands, so I'm able to play it. And like, it sounds so beautiful. And like, I noticed something that blew my mind as an engineer. So I was learning each of the chords. I was learning C and then doing the circle of fifths, going to G and then D and so on and so forth. When I got to B and played it, and I looked at where my fingers were on the piano, and you can see it right there actually. So if you do the Kenny Barron voicing with B, if you split where your two thumbs are, all six of the notes are like exactly symmetrical, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So, right? So you're like on what, B, and then like if you try it out, I was blown away. I
don't have the huh?
Oh no, you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to play. You can actually just put your fingers on it if you want. But it's like B, and then whatever the notes are for like your 159 with your left, and then the 3711 with your right. And if you look between your thumbs and like imagine like cutting the piano in half and folding it, all of the notes line up exactly. And I was like blown away because I didn't know if that was like, I don't know if I like discovered something that no one knew, or I didn't know, like I felt so interested in that. So
there's a ton of geometry in music, I guess.
Great.
Like if you like math and everything, like it makes sense to like music also.
Yes, that's what I've heard too, that there's a correlation, especially I would imagine in music in general, but certainly with the piano and the steps and all that kind of stuff.
Do you learn a lot of theory? So
I'm learning more theory right now, theory as well as, I guess my weakest element of music right now, I would say is like quickly being able to sheet read, like learning sheet music like quicker than like the time that it takes me. And I would say my strongest suit by far is what I mentioned earlier, is being able to listen to a melody or a song or some chord, being able to play it, replicate it that way. So I'm kind of like mixing all these things together, but the theory element is fascinating to me for the engineering, technical sort of things that go on in my mind,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's kind of the opposite for me now, right? Like I studied a lot of theory when I was in the conservatory. And now I kind of all forgot about it, like it's, you know what I mean? So, but sometimes I want to go back to it,
Sure. Yeah.
I feel like I might come back to it very soon. I feel the need, to.
Sure. Like it's something that you think about. So, definitely sooner than later.
Yeah.
What is you guys' practice look like nowadays, like on the piano? Like if you're like, okay, well, first of all, is it like a mindset where like every day or every other day you're sitting in front of the piano and you're practicing something specific, or have you gotten to a point where it's kind of just playing the things that kind of is practice in itself?
Well, actually, I think since I'm streaming almost every day, like, or recording a lot, and I can't play even more because I get hurt.
Yes.
Right.
Gotcha.
But what I do and always did with actually that's how I started really composing. It's funny. I wasn't like. I had to, do a lot of scales and exercises, and I was getting bored by it. So I was taking the technical thread that I was learning, and I was making a song around it, with the technical thread.
Okay.
Right? So I started doing stuff like that also, and like real pieces with, for example, arpeggios or like octaves, tierces, or I don't know, anything. And any technical trait I would have a problem with, I would incorporate it in a new composition. So I would force myself to work on it that way and to develop it in every possible way, make it the smallest thing, the biggest thing, put the left hand, the right hand, mix everything together, and transpose it, all of that. So I would always do that. And now since I don't exercise the way I used to do in the conservatory,
Yeah.
I keep on, I try to, when I see something I have trouble with or something I want to do, I force myself to incorporate it everywhere, and I play it everywhere. And sometimes I break it down and I work on it, right? But
it's quite rare.
sometimes I break it down, but I think the limit today is that you can't play all the. I mean, the thing is with live streaming, you're playing intensely. It's like playing on a stage.
Yeah.
Right. So it's different than it's different from exercising or the typical playing at home, because you always playing at 100%.
Right. Right.
And so this is very tiring for the arms. And when I started streaming, which is a mistake I know a lot of new streamers make, is you stream too much. You see people watching, you stay 5 hours, 6 hours.
You don't want to leave.
You don't want to leave. Yes, especially with Reddit and all of that. When you see 6K people watching you, you can't stop the stream,
Yeah.
And you just want to start again 20 minutes later. So you push your limits, and you can end up hurting yourself. So now, I can't. I try not to do that anymore. To kind of like force myself to stop after 3 hours live streaming, for example. I think this is an important thing to take in consideration when you start streaming. Limits, right? Boundaries. You need to protect your hands or whatever you're using.
Right. Can't overdo it. That makes a ton of sense. And I appreciate that. Sometimes I've definitely been there on the Reddit front. Like it's mentally fatiguing too. If you're there for a couple of hours, physically and mentally, and then you're like, oh, but I shouldn't leave or can't leave. But at the end of the day, yes, you can, right? It's like, certainly it's okay, right? You'll come back another day. It's all good.
But it's addictive. Right?
Yeah, it is. It really is. It most certainly is. It's fascinating and it's addictive. And it's like we said earlier, it's a fun thing. It's a two-way street that you're doing something for people and they're doing something.
Yes, you're getting so much energy. You feel very, very great during those streams and after those streams,
It's like a high.
Like filled with,
yes.
Just happy vibes, right?
Yes.
So you just want to get back to it. Where it ends, you want to start again, right?
Right. I could totally agree. Next question. Two more questions. Next question, you could take a moment to think about this. If each of you guys have a chance, this is gonna be a little more in depth than the previous two, but I think a really good question for your audience to learn about your musical preference of what you like listening to. So if you have a chance to go to a dream concert, each of you, and there's going to be 5 artists that are performing there out of the span of time, from all time, living.
Oh wow! This is this kind of question.
Yeah, who would you want to see at your dream concert?
You go.
No, me. Okay. I want Rachmaninoff.
Of course, got to be a classically trained person there, at least one. Yes, for sure.
I want Rachmaninoff to play his concert for me.
Is he your favorite classical?
Oh, he's one of my favorites for sure, and one of my biggest classical influences.
Wow.
I guess I'm more influenced by the romantic composers.
Okay.
So Rachmaninoff is, one of the greatest.
Love it.
Yeah. I think I would love to have Rachmaninoff there. I would freak out, cry, have the best time. I would love to have also, actually, I think it's going back to what I said at the beginning, those songs that, really struck me. Like, I would love Armstrong to be there, right?
Sure.
I would love Armstrong, Rachmaninoff. I would love the Pink Floyds to be there. It's a weird concert.
That sounds great so far. Nice mix, different genres.
Yeah. I would love, let me think, BTS to be there.
Okay, nice.
K-pop.
Do you know BTS? They're so amazing, right?
I
They're
haven't listened to their
concerts.
music, but I've heard of them.
I mean, I would love to listen to them because, like, to watch them live because their shows are so mind blowing.
Uh-huh.
It's I think like it's more than music, you know. It's everything,
It's a
like the
spectacular-
colors, the
choreography,
dance,
yeah.
everything.
Let me
I'm
BTS is who I think I know I've heard the name before. I want to see if they are who I think they are though.
Yeah, there's this huge K-pop like band.
Yeah, okay. So like in the
they're
Blackpink,
amazing.
that crew, not crew, but in that genre, K-pop is Korean pop, right?
Yes,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Korean pop.
Okay.
But
Okay.
BTS is very
the
went
biggest
kind of
one.
as Western vibe also.
Ah, because I've heard of Blackpink. One of my piano instructor is Korean, and she's a huge fan of them.
Oh,
Yeah, so she put me on Blackpink, and I've listened and watched some of their stuff. But I have to. So BTS is a boy group. I'm looking at them.
it's a boy group.
Yeah.
There are seven
Okay.
men, and it's mind blowing.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna check out
The
some.
live shows are mind blowing. So I would love this huge, American,
Production.
Korean, what do you say, like the huge shows,
Yeah.
But also I would love Armstrong to be there. If Ella Fitzgerald can be here, it's nice too, right? All of them,
Or like Queen, like when they had like these concerts, like Queen, they used to do concerts for like 1 million people or something, right?
Uh-huh.
When you see the pictures and you see just like a sea of people,
Yeah,
on a
non-stop.
huge stage, yeah.
Right.
And Chopin, maybe. I can't. I mean, I feel like I'm betraying Chopin if I don't invite him to the show, right?
Yeah, he would be mad at you if you betray him. So you have to include him.
But Liszt, what do I do with Liszt?
WC.
I mean, it's 5 is not enough, you know.
No.
What is this
Count
question? I need
question.
like 100.
A lot of my guests get stressed out about that question because they feel the same way you feel, like they don't want to leave someone out or something. You know, they're betraying one of their favorite artists. I'm like, it's okay. This is just it's an imagination thing, but I totally understand. That perspective. Like, it's not an easy question at all, but it's good. Now I kind of have an idea of who you like who are basically, it's like, who are 5 artists that you really, really, really enjoy. And certainly there's going to be more than 5, but that's
I would love to see a Michael Jackson show also. Probably.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, it was like a huge, I mean, I never saw one, right? But his shows were like among the biggest, like most craziest things.
Who's that?
Michael Jackson.
Oh yes, he would have to be in my 5 for sure. There was a movie called This Is It that came out.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that shortly after he passed?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So that was so cool as a producer, as someone who's so into music as well, seeing like behind the scenes videos of him in the studio working on music, and things needed to be so precise with him. Like I really enjoy seeing those types of things of him, as well as, many different artists. I'll sometimes go on YouTube and I'll look at some of my favorite artists, like behind the scenes, like little 2-minute clips of them in the studio, to see what the vibe is like. We know what the finished product is like, but like, what are they like when they're in the midst of working on stuff? That's usually pretty inspiring stuff for me as well.
You will like, that's why when you're streaming, it's a bit like this too, right? People kind of, there is this aspect of letting them into the process.
Yes, many people. So that's the thing. So sometimes when I do the Reddit streams, I'll put like, request a song. So people like request a song on there, and if I know how it goes, I'll play it. If I don't know how it goes, I'll look it up on YouTube, listen to it, and then try to play it. And so what happens is, I've gotten quite a few times, people love seeing the process of figuring it out. And I didn't realize that, because I'm like, oh, is this boring? Like, you're looking at me kind of stumbling over the keys and trying to figure things out. But for a lot of people, like, being able to get it, like, it's like a rewarding experience for them. So that's a great point.
Yeah, and it's putting you outside of your comfort zone.
Right. Vulnerability and just genuineness, right? That's what people are thriving to see. They want to see people that are themselves,
Yes, I think that's what you learn the most with live streaming, right? Like getting outside of your comfort zone and kind of believing in, yourself and the audience, right? because at the beginning it can be very scary to, you know, even make mistakes live.
Yeah.
It's live, you know. So or not to know, you know, like what you're going to play, how you're going to play it, what you're going to say, you know. So it's a lot about letting go, right?
Yeah.
When you're playing music on live streams. So definitely, I think what you're saying makes total sense. You're getting outside of your comfort zone. People are seeing this thing that you never see, right? Because we usually hide that. It's not something you make public. So actually, following this, we made an album during live streams.
Yeah.
Oh, how did that
Whole
go?
album.
From improvisations.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. What's the name of the album? I'd love to listen.
Demons. It's called Demons.
Oh, I was going to say, that's so crazy that you say that, because I was literally going to say and give you a compliment on something. I was going to say that I didn't listen to it yet, but which I will not now that I know the context, but I'm looking up on your Instagram now. I love the cover art for it.
Oh, that's Sebastien who did
Is that you? Yeah. Oh, so you do something like graphic
so glad you love it.
Yeah, I do everything.
I think it's absolutely stunning. Like it's like the different squares that are subtle different colors, you know? Like it's so cool. It's very nice. Great job. You're welcome. I'm gonna definitely listen to that. So you had live streaming going on, and then you guys took some of the pieces of the live stream and turned it into an album.
Yes, they were like, we actually did that. I did an improvisation during the stream that went very well, and people wanted to buy the stream, the audio of the stream. Okay. And so we thought we should do an album with that, right? But like we need to also have more structured pieces inside this musical journey, right? It was more a musical journey than pieces, right? So we also made like a piece from scratch online. The piece called Demons was made like, you know, consciously, and the rest of the album was more was an improvisation. And what's funny is that we got to play the single Demons that we made with everyone on stream in the Red Bull studios in Paris.
Yeah.
For an for an ad for Roland.
Wow. Okay. So cool.
So there is a whole story around you know, this album that's so unusual for us to have made something that way. So especially if you were a little bit of a perfectionist, right? It can be overwhelming, right? To do that live.
For sure. That's a fascinating story, and I feel it's very interesting how literally I was thinking of that album and the name Demons, and as soon as you said it, I was going to literally show you that. I was like, I wanted to talk about that cover art, and then there we go. I wanted to talk about the cover art, and then you mentioned this. I think that's something. There's something to that for sure. So I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, so cool. Sebastien had done like a few cover arts before this one.
Yeah, they were very bad.
Really?
No, like very bad. I loved them, but everyone said they were very bad. But I still love them. You know, I love them more now that nobody, everyone said.
Everyone else does it. Okay. That's good. I love that you guys are siblings too. That's a really important and special thing, like a bond between the siblings that are both musically inclined and like working together on stuff. Yeah, do the heart thing. Got to do it. Yeah, do the heart. There it is. That's incredible, guys. Like I'm also, you know, a family person. I have a younger sister that I mentioned. I have an older brother. And, you know, we were very close growing up, and, you know, obviously we're still close now, but life getting to adulthood and all that stuff, everyone's kind of doing their, you know, specific things. But I think it's so cool that there's opportunities to partner on things that you guys are both interested and passionate about. And now seeing what it results in.
Yeah, what's cool is that we are very different, right? So that it made a lot of sense for us to work together or something. Because when you're like a student or you're in like engineering school or high school, you're often with people that are very much like you, right? So if you work with them, you don't necessarily benefit a lot from being with them for the project, right? It's a lot of fun and it's very, but you don't get a new perspective.
Yeah, we have very different kind of competence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and way of thinking and everything. We're very different. So it's very complementary.
Yes, for sure. That's what it's all about. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts like on entrepreneurship and things like that. And there's one called How I Built This, and it's a podcast where the host interviews pretty much every famous company that you can think of. The founder or CEO from that company comes on the show and just talks about their journey and shares some tidbits and stuff. And one of the common themes is exactly what you said, which was like, when you're growing your business, to try to get people surround yourself with people that kind of will complement you, not necessarily people who are going to think the same way or too close to how you think. And that clearly is, working out for you guys, so far. And I'm just super proud of you, happy to meet you guys today, and really truly excited to see, where this goes. Because when you think about 1 year, and 1 year streaming, obviously you guys have been doing music stuff, prior to that, but 1 year streaming, but like think about like where you are right now and how, utterly talented you are. And like personable too. I think that having like just that genuine, I feel like I know both of you very well now from just, an hour with chatting with you. And I think that people, my audience, is going to really enjoy hearing from people that are in the music space and people that I sort of admired from afar, right? Saw what you're doing and saying, wow, Kevin brought on people that he is inspired by. That's pretty cool. And learning on the fly from you guys,
Well, that's so cool to be able to share, some insights, some tips. Like one day we had like
meet new people also.
Yeah, and meet new
Like
people and
yes,
yes, and especially on during those times.
Yeah,
right.
You're our social contact from today. Like we
nice to meet you. Thank you. That's the thing. A lot of people have said that too. I'm sure clearly with the streaming, but I'm sure other maybe contemporaries, maybe you guys know other streamers or other content creators that you kind of follow their work, and you show love on different posts and stuff. And it's like you have like a bond with people that you haven't met in person yet. And I actually interviewed someone from London who's a producer, kind of similar to me, a content creator, video producer, music producer as well. And I was talking to him, and he was saying just that. He was saying how he's met people over the past, say, 2 or 3 years that he just feels so close with now, but he hasn't actually had a chance to meet them yet. And he's excited for the day where, he can get in the same room with the person and just kind of vibe out and stuff. And eventually that day will come for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
sure.
And it's the same also with people watching, right, in the streams.
Yes,
like, it's a bound like this too.
Yeah,
even if you don't talk a lot with them afterwards, or you build a bond inside the streams, that's kind of like a strong bond. So
it's actually something you struggled with before, I guess. Like she was too attached to the streams, so she would keep like talking in our Discord and everything very late after the streams.
Gotcha.
But if you do this, then the next day you're not going to do anything, right? So
got you, because it's burning you out a little bit. You're doing too much of your time, kind of thing. Gotcha.
I think it's something very tricky when you're doing everything online and by yourself.
Manage your time.
Yes, you have no limits, no time limits. Like you could work and stream at 2 a.m. And work never stops. And it's not, and since it's a passion, right? It's you don't feel like it's work, but it's also work.
Sure.
So you can get very tired at one point because you just did too much, right?
Yeah.
And gave too much, maybe, like if you were being 100% all the time, it's tiring. So you have to
find a balance.
Of figure out a balance, and don't be scared to put limits with everyone, online, or like it's normal.
Definitely.
But it can be tricky at the beginning, like it still is, but
We're learning still, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
learning as you go.
Yeah.
Let me let you guys know. Just want to say again, just thank you guys so much for taking the time out. I'm so excited to get the episode out to share with my audience. I this is my first interview on my channel in a while because I took a little break because I was getting a little bit burned out because I was thinking, oh my God, every single person I come across, I felt like has an interesting story. And certainly that is the case. I would reach out, I would inquire about maybe, you know, having them come on an episode. And what was happening is I was having these amazing conversations. And then I was realizing, man, I have to edit all of these. And it was like a backlog kind of filling up. So I decided to take a little break and work on getting some of these out. Because people, like say, for example, if I interviewed you guys today and then kept it going, you know, this interview maybe wouldn't come out until like months later or something. And I didn't want that to be the case, like with my, you know, guest. On. So yeah, this is one of my first ones in a while. So I'm super just, excited for people to listen and learn from it and just have a positive vibe. And I'm excited to stay in touch with you guys and obviously join your stream some more and check out what you guys are doing. And
great to meet you like this.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's you know, like it can feel like a lonely career a little bit, right? When you live streaming and all of that. So it's very amazing to be able to connect with people like you, and you know, you kind of realize more that it's a web of people, you know, a constellation. And so we're
there's plenty of people doing what we are doing, like, or what you're doing. So you just have to like find them and then like have a chat or something. And it's cool. Yeah, really cool.
Definitely. Is there anything else that you guys like to share with my audience before we wrap up?
Come on Twitch. Follow us on Spotify.
If you want to stream, to start streaming, just start streaming. You don't wait to be ready. I was never ready when I started streaming. But you know, and you never wait to be ready. You know, just jump in, try to be relaxed, and you know, you should totally start if you want to try. Like really.
Love it. Well, thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful rest of the day. I think you have a stream tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yes, I almost forgot.
At 9 p.m. I don't know what time it is now. It's like in 2 hours or something.
Yeah, we have a stream tonight.
Yeah. What is it? 106 my time. Yeah, I'll definitely hop in there. You'll see me there. I'll show some love for sure. Yeah, definitely. So have a wonderful rest of the day, wonderful stream, and look forward to staying in contact with you guys. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Guys. You as well.
Okay. Bye. Yeah.
This is, oh my God. Sebastien recorded a ringtone from hell, you know? Like.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's exactly what it sounded like. I wasn't sure if that was a baby or not. Like I couldn't tell. That was so crazy. Okay.